Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the next installment of my A to Z reading challenge, where I am trying to read a book for every letter of the alphabet off my physical TBR. If you haven't seen the first video, I will leave it linked on the screen. Essentially, I am trying to read down my physical TBR, and I have sorted them into two categories: those books that I acquired before 2025 and those that have been acquired in 2025. My priority is my pre-2025 physical TBR, but I am pulling from both, mostly because I need the letters. So while I have tentatively pulled a potential list, I don't know if those are going to be the final books that I read in this video, but the first one that I am starting with, because I'm up to the letter E, is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson, which is a crime, murder mystery kind of story, which I've heard a lot about, but I haven't read. Benjamin Stevenson is an Australian author. I am going to be listening to this one on audio because I have the audio out from Libby, and I may dip in and out of the physical book as well, but it is going to be one of my audio reads, so I have technically already started it, and I'm really enjoying it. The narration style is really cool, and it's nice to listen to an audiobook with an Australian narrator. Like, it's just, I don't know, there's something about it that's really easy on my ears. Like, not that anything else is not, but I don't know, I guess I just follow the general accent very, very well. I will update you when I have finished reading Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, and then I will let you know what I'm going to be reading for the letter F, because this one took me a little while to find one, because the original thing that I had on my list, I think I ended up DNFing. Why, hello everyone. I'm here to update my A to Z reading challenge. I've read two books so far, for E and for F. So for E, I was reading Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I actually listened to the audio for this because it came in as one of my Libby holds. This story is told from the perspective of our main character, who is recounting the ways that members of his family have killed someone. And it starts off with his brother killing somebody, and he's the one to confirm that with the police and essentially has his brother sent to prison. And then we flash forward years later and there is a family reunion. His brother is just about to be released from prison, and our main character is a bit of a pariah in the family because he sent his brother to prison. And when they get together, they're staying on a mountain, it's snowing, and we discover the secrets of everyone in this family, from mothers to stepfathers to wives to like everyone in between. Everyone has a secret, and it was a really interesting read. I haven't read a sort of crime whodunit-ish kind of novel in a while, and it was really, really interesting. I understand why people enjoy it. I think it's just a very easy, compelling kind of read, and the audiobook for it was great. Being in the perspective of that main character was just really interesting, so I had a good time with this. Then for F, I read The Full Moon Coffee Shop by my Mochizuki, which I will say, there's not much plot in this book. This is purely a vibes book. It is translated from, I think, Japanese by Jesse Kirkwood, and I don't say it doesn't have a plot in a negative way. Like, this is the perfect book if you just want to read something where it just makes you think, and it just, you know, calls into question how we walk through this world and how we interact with it. Like, this is that kind of book. It's those kind of vibes. We follow a couple of different characters who end up finding this full moon coffee shop, which only appears if you need it, where you need it, and then it disappears. And it is staffed by cats who can occasionally transform themselves to look like humans. But these cats dispense advice through the forms of astrology, and they may or may not be related to planetary gods. Maybe. Who knows? And all of the people who end up visiting this coffee shop are loosely interconnected. So there's kind of three parts. Each of them follow a different character, and they're all loosely tied together. It was just a really adorable, nice read, and there were some nice quotes in it. And I like that at the end the author says, you know, this story was inspired by the Full Moon Coffee Shop illustrations by Chihiro Sakurada, and that was the inspiration for the book, and it was just kind of fun and chill. Like, it was an easy read. Also, the text is huge and there's giant margins, so it was a very easy read. So those are the next two books. I'm not quite sure what I'm picking up next, but I will update you when I get there. Hi everyone. So it's been a while since, well, not for you guys, but for me, it's been a while since I updated my reading A to Z challenge, and I was up to the letter G, and I was going to read a physical book off my TBR, but I picked it up and DNF'd it in like the first page, so that's fine. But it took me a little while to find a book that did have G in the title, and I didn't have any physical books that started with G, so I ended up going to my Kindle, and one of the books that I had was a Sarina Bowen title called Goodbye Paradise, which is a queer best friends to lovers story, but both our characters have grown up inside a cult, and they're escaping their cult and reconnecting with someone else who has gotten out of the cult, and they're trying to undo years and years of trauma and religious ideology while trying to be together and trying to forge a new life. There are a lot of content and trigger warnings. It's not a light-hearted book at all. I wasn't expecting it to be a cult book because I literally just found the first book, or the oldest book on my Kindle TBR that started with G. There are mentions of SA of female characters and resulting pregnancies as a result of that, assault, postpartum depression, homophobic comments, because our two characters, Josh and Caleb, end up living with, as I said, someone who got out, and she has since married and she's pregnant when she meets them. So she's the one who's going through the postpartum depression, and then another character who eventually also joins them is the one who's experienced the SA. And it's about all of these characters and how they interact and how they are family, and they're trying to make their way in a world that really doesn't understand the experiences that they have lived through. I mean, for a book that I had no idea about what I was reading, it was, I mean, Sarina Bowen I actually quite like. I really quite enjoy Sarina Bowen's writing style, so this one was really interesting. But yeah, again, I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I read it. And then for H, I started reading the Hovercar Racer graphic novel, and in the end, like, I've actually read Hovercar Racer. I have not been in a mood to read a graphic novel, and especially one that's got very, very tiny writing in it. So I was always counting this book as read because I know the story, I've read it before. But I've decided at the moment, I'm not in the right headspace at the moment to read that book. So I was trying to think about what to read, and I honestly couldn't think of anything. And like, for days, I was trying to think of what to read. Meanwhile, I was reading, and this will tell you exactly where my brain is. I was reading Himbo Hitman, which does not only start with H, both words in the title start with H. So we're counting this as my H book for this challenge. This is Saxon James's most recent release. It is a thick, chunky book. It is a queer romantic suspense story. We have Perry, who is a side character that we met in a previous story. And what we know about Perry is that he is a bit down on his luck. He is incredibly awkward in everything he does in life, and he's never quite been able to secure a stable job. Like, he's very flighty, is probably the best word to describe him. He decides to become a hitman, but he's the world's worst hitman. He can't kill anyone. He instead manages to convince everyone that he is hired to kill, to go into hiding, until he is tasked with the job of killing a guy called St. Clair. Now, St. Clair has recently opened a club with his brother. There's no reason why anyone should want to kill him. His first interaction with Perry is when Perry accidentally shoots him in the ear, and then Perry's deeply apologetic because he doesn't actually want to shoot anyone. As I said before, he doesn't, like, that's not what he wants to be doing. You know, Perry tries to convince him, okay, you need to go into hiding, you can't show yourself, blah, blah, blah. St. Clair does that initially, but then he really can't anymore. And the two cross paths again at Perry's other job, where he is a barista. And it takes a minute before St. Clair recognizes who Perry is. And then suddenly people are after not only St. Clair, but also Perry, because Perry hasn't completed his job. And the two end up having to try and figure out what is going on, who is behind all of these hits, etc. Like, it is chaos. It is chaos. I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite of Saxon James's recent books, I will admit. I think but again, I don't know whether that's just because I'm not in the headspace for true chaos at the minute, and this is definitely that. But I did have a lot of fun with it. And I think it was really fun to see Saxon James try something a little bit different. She doesn't often, like, she really doesn't write romantic suspense. I think Perry was a character that after we'd all had an introduction to him in another story, we all kind of just wanted his story, and it was fun. Like, it was really funny and entertaining, and you can just go, mate, this job, what made you think that you could do this job? So yes, that is Himbo Hitman, which means I have now completed my next 4 books for this Reading A to Z challenge. So just to recap, for E, I read Everybody in My Family Has Killed Someone. For F, I read The Full Moon Coffee Shop. And for G, I read Goodbye Paradise by Sarina Bowen, which was an ebook. And then Himbo Hitman by Saxon James. So that is 3 physical books and 1 ebook cleared off my TBR. That's not bad. I already am thinking about the next couple of books, or the next video in this series. The book I have for Iced is actually an anthology of books, and the books within the anthology are not called Do Not Start With I, but the anthology does start with I, and I possibly just need to read it, so that could be interesting. And I don't think I have anything for J, so that could also be interesting. So stay tuned. We've got through this next little section, and I will update you with the next part when I have something to update you with. In the comments, I'd love to know, have you read any of these books? Are you planning on picking them up? Feel free to let me know down below. Otherwise, feel free to leave a cat emoji, because the cats in this book, I just love them a lot. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.